Alright, gonna talk fakes versus reals today. Got a couple pairs of Jordans here. Can't say I'm new to being a sneakerhead, but I'm kind of new to collecting Jordans, and I've had these pair of teams. Just as a quick background, I've had these pair of teams 2s for going on 14 years now. Got the 13 sides and the 14 shield. Little preview of what was going to come in the 98 season, 98-99. But I've been rocking those for a long time. These were purchased in Nike Town in Portland for a Christmas present back in the day. And I just got these Oreos a little bit ago. 6 is my all-time fave. Jordan has been for literally 19 years. Love these since I was a kid. Definitely need to get some black infrared soon, but these will get me by for now. Definitely rocking these. So things to watch out for. Not that I have a fake to compare it to, but I got, definitely keep an eye out for that really puffy ankle piece. I've noticed some of the fakes out there, they don't have that. And man, I was watching all kinds of YouTube videos trying to get used to how real these fakes can be. Look for the, tight perforation on the holes. Some of the fakes will use the same perforated cuts on different shoes. So they'll have the same hole disbursement. It's kind of hard to see those, but for the 6s as they will on say the 8s or some other shoe that's got perforation. But these are all legit, and it was kind of a wake-up call when I started getting back into this and really deciding to fulfill childhood dreams and own some Jordans I can own the rest of my life, since I'm not going to outgrow them. And how many fakes are out there. So I was watching all kinds of YouTube videos and figured I'd do my part to just post out what happened with me, because my second favorite set of Jordans are 8s. And when I found out about the Peapods a couple years after the fact, I was like, I gotta have a pair of those. So I scored these thinking I was getting this great deal, and they turned out to be illegit fakes. So I now have a pair of real ones and wanted to do some side-by-side comparison so people can tell the difference, and some details that I didn't catch even after watching a lot of videos, and they were really helpful, but the pics I was getting from the seller weren't all that great, and he claims he didn't know, even though he shipped them in a fake box that says Royal and red, and it's definitely not a legit box. But I'm a 12, and I bought these, and they say they're a size 12, and I can't even get my foot in them. So definitely not the same thing, and I'll show you side by side to show that they're very different than what you think you're buying when you end up having a real one to compare it to. So the first thing is the fakes are being made pretty well. I mean, the sizes are really off. That's probably one of the key things, but you're never going to know that looking at pictures. But I mean, they got all the orange paint on the edges, all the way around, the circle and all the different pattern. But there's some key things that I'm hoping that if you got a lot of other 8 fans, I know there's kind of a love or hate shoe. I've loved this shoe since '93 when it came out, and friends had it, and I couldn't score a pair. And the aquas and then the whites and the playoffs have always been my faves, but blue and orange is one of my favorite color combos. So anyway, let's move on to showing some differences here. One of the key things is the fact that the Peapod color is more of an olive green on the fakes. You'll notice that the patch is really similar. I mean, the way it's designed is really close to the thing, but that Peapod color is Peapod. It is not that. So be careful of that. It's amazing to me that people are making fake Peapods. I never thought that would happen to me, but here we are. So I'm shipping these back. Fortunately, the guy who sold them to me is being cool enough to take them back, and he's already refunded me. So I'm not getting completely ripped off, but I figured I'd do this in the meantime. So you'll see the hash marks on the heel. These here, they got them on the fakes, but they're not as tall. If you can see, maybe compared to my first fingernail. And you go over to the fakes, and my fingernail goes way above that line, so it's a little shorter. One of the key things too about fakes is you'll see the triangles in the way that they're cut. There's a triangle right here. There's another one here, and it's the way that they press out the suede or the leather or the nubuck or whatever, and they have like stamp machines or something to that effect, where they're making them and they're not made to the Jordan or Nike standards. There's another real key one like right here above my fingernail. It's a little blurry, but there's a little triangle. So I started sewing those right away before I even put them on, and was pretty bummed to find that out. And then, you know, some of the key things too is the back of the shoes. You'll notice the real ones got pretty much two full bumps. I know some of the Jordans could go a little higher than that on the 8s. Like, I don't know if it's the Aquas or Playoffs, so I don't have them to compare to, but the bumps are a little bit, they'll go up into like a third bump. But you need two full bumps on the back of these for sure, or the ridges, whatever you want to call them. They're really pronounced too. It really catches your finger in between. These ones are a little more shallow. You'll see that there's more of a V shape and not as rounded. And then the bump is really interrupted, so you really only got one full bump and then like less than half of one before it starts into the bottom of the tail, but you know, where the loop starts, your shoe loop. So other than that, like the loops itself, I mean, look at the difference in how tall these stand up. Like, this just stands on its own. It doesn't take anything. It's very, like, it's rigid. It bounces back. It's got the stitch line showing up here. This one, no stitch line. Very flexible. It doesn't stand up at all on its own. You can barely even see the kind of the tongue, the back. Well, it's not a tongue, but you know, the back part of the shoe. It's hard. You have to like put your finger in, where this is just, you know, on its own. It's very well separated. The booty itself, the inner booty, kind of makes the 8s famous, and supposedly gave Michael himself athlete's foot back in the day when he was fighting the bulls for a championship. But these are 11.5s, and the booty starts kind of like right below the tag. These ones, it's way below the tag because the booty, the whole thing is sunk down there too low. They say they're 12s, but you'll see the difference really soon. Comparing the sides, they did a pretty good job with rounding it on the fake there, but the circle it sticks out more. This little circle patch that's above your ankle, it sticks out further. This one's really recessed in the real one. So the orange lining stands out a lot because it's more recessed and gives it a chance to get some shadow in there, I guess. And you'll see it's pretty rounded here too. Notice kind of some differences with the ridge here. This ridge is a little more straight. It's not as rounded. They did a good job with the plastic part here that the Velcro straps loop into. They pretty much look exactly the same. I can't really tell them apart, but the Jordan strap itself, nice firm Velcro. These feel really pronounced. It's like very stiff braille. They're hard to push back in. And you'll notice too, like the strap kind of wings out a little bit more. It really goes down at the bottom, and it's at its widest point here, whereas the fake one, strap isn't as long for one thing, so that it's not it's able to stretch back. It's more flexible, and you can push in on these letters more and make a dent. You can kind of see where my fingernail goes in on the A there. And you don't have quite that width at the back of the strap. So one thing to keep out for. And they just kind of look haggard. Like the strap itself just doesn't look stitched very well. The rest of the shoe's not bad, but that part was pretty noticeable to me. This one, just the stitching pattern is a lot cleaner on it. Another thing, since we got them like this, is I'll put them toe to toe here, but the toe boxes are pretty different. Like, here's the fake still on the left, and see how it's like a 90-degree drop. The rubber, like where the toe suede stops, or the nubuck stops and goes into the rubber, it's very thin, the difference between the two. This one's there's a little more to grab there, and the toe box is a lot more of a sloped, like obtuse angle, if you want to call it that. Not nearly as rigid or stiff and sticking out as much. And this is 11.5, but it's actually a much larger shoe than the fake here. The 23, these are pretty much the same. There's some like very